Thank you.
Okay. The end of the year report from the Russian ambassador about the state of affairs in the relations between the Russian Federation and Tanzania. I will make some short remarks, and then we'll be happy to answer your questions. Last year, when we met here, we agreed that the relations between the Russian Federation and the United Republic of Tanzania were gaining momentum. Our traditional friendship of many decades now is now being enriched by not only close political relations, but also by trade, economic, and investment cooperation. And the year of 2025 is even a better example of these relations moving forward. I will name just a few important events that happened during the past year, and they are showing our progress in political relations, security, trade, economy, investment. I start with the mentioning of the second meeting of the Joint Intergovernmental Commission on Trade and Economic Relations that happened in St. Petersburg in May and was presided by Minister of Planning and Investment in the office of the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Kitila Mkumbo, and from the Russian side, the Minister of Economic Development, Mr. Maxim Reshetnikov. The second meeting was much more about concrete decisions and agreements, and the fact that the Tanzanian official delegation was accompanied by a big number of Tanzanian businessmen proves it. I remember that our consular section here issued about 100 visas for Tanzanian colleagues to visit St. Petersburg on this occasion. And all of those business people and government officials, they worked very actively to establish and move forward their contacts with their Russian counterparts. Agreements on future projects in different areas of cooperation were reached. Energy, logistics and transport, agriculture, of course, information technologies, and all other areas, possible areas of cooperation were thoroughly discussed in St. Petersburg. Later, when you ask me questions on particular projects, I may elaborate on that. Then, in the same area of economic and trade cooperation, I, of course, must mention the inauguration of the of the uranium mine in Ruvuma, inauguration by Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan that happened in August. She personally visited the site and opened the project. And the project is carried out by the big Russian atomic company Rosatom through its Tanzanian subsidiary Mantra. It is a flagship project of Russia in Tanzania. Now it is at its initial stage, but by 2030 it will produce about 3,000 tons of uranium annually. I visited the site several times, and I see that after Her Excellency the President inaugurated the project, it is moving forward very quickly. The next event I would like to mention happened again in August, and it was in different area of our cooperation. It was the arrival to Dar es Salaam port of a Russian group of Navy ships. They not only called on Dar es Salaam port as a friendly visit, but also they brought 14 Tanzanian military students who are studying in Russia to become naval officers. And those 14 cadets came on Russian ships, and they stayed here home for vacation for several weeks, and then returned to continue their study in Russia. During this long trip from Russia to Africa, they exercised, they had practice, and acquired all necessary knowledge to become good naval officers and serve their motherland, Tanzania. And another event I would like to mention on this list was the visit to Tanzania in the beginning of November of the first deputy head of the presidential administration of the Russian President Vladimir Putin, Mr. Sergei Kirienko. He came here in the beginning of November, right after the general elections in Tanzania, and brought with him a personal letter from President Putin to President Samia Suluhu Hassan, congratulating her with her victory at the elections and wishing her all the success in making Tanzania developed, modern country, and a promising further cooperation between Russia and Tanzania. So these several events, they actually were in the focus of the attention of the Russian embassy here in Dar es Salaam. We had many other smaller events, but also important, and I'm grateful to media here and all media colleagues in Tanzania for covering all those events. They were cultural events, sports events, also trade, economic, tourism, in many different spheres, and they were actually all well covered by Tanzanian media. Thank you very much for paying attention to what we are doing with our Tanzanian friends were doing during the past year. So I would stop here, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And the answers will be free. No need to offer money for it. While you are thinking of your questions, I just want to mention that our plans for the next year, 2026, are equally very packed with different events. I started with the second meeting of the Intergovernmental Commission on Trade and Economic Relations. The next year, 2026, it is agreed that the third meeting of the Commission will happen here in Tanzania, and I hope it will be very soon. It shows that this is not just an official format, but it is something where both sides, official delegations accompanied by many business people, are really working on concrete projects. So your question, please. Yes.
So thank you, His Excellency.
Please be seated. No need to stand up. We are very close to each other, and I see you well.
Thank you, His Excellency. So I'm going to have like 5 questions
Okay.
about different sectors, which most of them you have mentioned there, and most of them you have not mentioned about it. So when I begin, I would like to start with the trading sector.
Trade.
Yes, I'm going to begin with the trade sector, whereby my question is, despite the strong diplomatic relations between Tanzania and Russia, bilateral trade has not yet fully reflected the existing potential. What specifically are the measurable steps our two countries currently taking to boost trade, and in which sectors should Tanzania expect to be tangible and resulting in the near term to come in the coming years? Mm-hmm. That's going to be the first question about trade. And when I just remind you, in our last meeting on 21st December 2024, I'm here talking about tourism sector. So going direct, you talked about the direct flight from Russia to Tanzania or Tanzania to Russia. How did this project ending? Because you just said that at the beginning of 2025, this may be completed. These plans may be completed. Those flights should have to start their routes. But unfortunately, I don't think if they have just the plan has been completed until this time. We are talking it's December, a year almost. Maybe which thing here there has been like where does this project start? We would like to know about that. That's almost about tourism sector. And I would also like to talk about the cooperation in the international forums, whereby in international forums such as the United Nations and Africa-Russian summits, Tanzania and Russia are often seen to share similar positions and issues affecting the developing of these two countries, in which specific areas have this cooperation produced visible and concrete outcomes. How?
Okay.
Yes. And when you just proceed with the other sectors about the peace and security, whereby you have just talked about it there, but I would like to ask a question whereby Tanzania has been continued to play an active role in peacekeeping, and we always know that Tanzania is one of the neutral politics nations, and in this peacekeeping operating across Africa, while Russia holds a significant position within the United Nations Security Council, how is this cooperation translated into concrete action to enhance peace and security on the African continent? That's almost about the peace and security. And my last questions maybe is going to be, I'm going to conclude by asking you, in the consideration of peace and security, international cooperations, and also tourism and the trade, which you have mentioned there, which of these three sectors, or four, I can say, would you identify as the most immediate priority in the current relations of Tanzania and Russia in the coming days, and why?
Thank you very much. Great questions. First of all, thank you for reminding me about Russia-Africa, because I omitted to mention it when I went through the main events of the past year. Of course, I want to add to the list of events the Russia-Africa ministerial meeting in Cairo that happened just several days ago, on the 19th and the 20th. It was the second meeting of the foreign ministers of the Russia-Africa Forum, and we are very happy that we had a Tanzanian delegation there led by Minister Kombo, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation. He had a bilateral meeting with the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. They discussed all areas of cooperation you just mentioned. All of them were under discussion there. And the main purpose of this ministerial conference in Cairo was to take stock of the development of the cooperation since the previous ministerial meeting that took place a year ago in Sochi, and the two summits, Russia-Africa summits, that happened in 2019 and 2023. Next year, 2026, together with our African partners, we are planning to organize the third Russia-Africa summit. Probably it will be held somewhere in Africa this time. I can't say yet where exactly, but next year it will happen. So the cooperation between Russia and Tanzania in this forum develops, and Russia and Tanzania use this format and other international fora to meet bilaterally, discuss bilateral relations as well. In the United Nations, I think that our cooperation needs to be further strengthened, because our approach to main international issues is very similar, or in most cases identical. And it is only natural that we coordinate and exchange views on all international issues of mutual interest. And these issues also were discussed in Cairo during the ministerial meeting. Russia supports the increase in the role of Africa in the United Nations, including in the United Nations Security Council. Russia will support the African membership in the Security Council. Of course, it is for the African countries to decide how this membership will look like, how Africa is going to be represented there. But for us, for Russia, it is obvious that the Security Council, as well as the whole system of the United Nations, and that includes international financial institutions, need to be reformed to reflect the real role and the real place of the world majority, and by the world majority, or another name, Global South, we mean Russia, we mean Africa, Asia, Latin America. And we support those reforms that go in the direction of increasing their say, giving them a louder voice in all affairs of the United Nations, including the Security Council. Coming back to trade, the priority sectors, well, first of all, you were right. Our level of our trade is still not matching the level of our political relations, which are very close and friendly. I think I admitted it already last year and the year before that, and during this period, our trade and economic relations have been moving forward. Last numbers of our bilateral trade are still not very impressive, about $350 million, but it is increasing. Our priority in trade in Russian export to Tanzania, first of all, grain, oil, fertilizers. These are traditional products that Tanzania imports from Russia. Tanzanian export to Russia, of course, mostly agriculture products. Tanzania is blessed with all sorts of fruits and vegetables, nuts, you just name it. And all these things can find their way to the Russian market. And one of my main priorities here in Tanzania is to promote Tanzanian products that, and I'm doing it absolutely sincerely, because I tried everything and I try everything every day. And when I say that these cashews are the best cashews in the world, or this coffee is the highest quality, or those avocados or bananas are the tastiest things that you can get, I mean it. And I'm trying to promote Tanzanian agriculture export to Russia with all efforts possible. Our prospective sectors of cooperation, energy, of course, coming back to the uranium mine, but not only. The biggest Russian energy company, Gazprom, is interested in coming to Tanzanian market with their motor gas. They are promoting motor gas, which is used as engine to vehicles, and they have equipment, they have these gas engines, they have facilities for storing and special gas stations where these vehicles can get this motor gas. This is a project that they are promoting. IT, information technologies, very rapidly developing in our bilateral relations. We are ready to share with our Tanzanian partners our newest technologies. We have very advanced technologies in IT. We don't want to hide anything from our Tanzanian friends. We are ready to share, to promote your digital technologies, to promote internet security, and all sorts of modern technologies that go with the development of computer science, internet, and everything. Speaking about science, I would like to mention also our readiness to share with Tanzanian friends our space technologies. I know that Tanzania wants to become a space nation, and it is about time, I think. And Russia will be ready to provide it assistance in, for example, building a Tanzanian satellite or whatever wishes Tanzanian friends have. And speaking about all sorts of cooperation in different areas, we of course need to mention education. It is a traditional area of our close cooperation. I think last year I told you that we were working on increasing the number of scholarships that Russia provides to Tanzania. And this year the number of scholarships was increased from 90 to 150. And these 150 places were easily taken by very smart and well-prepared Tanzanian young people. And every year we have in this cultural center twice a year education fair where many Russian universities come to find students for those universities, and every one of them, every university I talked to were referring to Tanzanian students they already have as the best foreign students they can think of. They're very disciplined, they are smart, they study well, and they come back to Tanzania as well-prepared specialists in medicine, in engineering, in whatever profession they can think of. And Russian universities can provide education in any profession, including journalism or any science or economic professions, whatever. So this is also one of the most important areas of our cooperation. Tourism. Yes, unfortunately, my hope to reopen direct flights during the current year have not been fulfilled, but the progress is there. The problem in relaunching direct flights, and it should be first charter flights, the problem is to find enough tourists, and the tourist flow from Russia to Tanzania hasn't yet reached the level of pre-pandemic years, where it was about thousands and thousands of Russians coming to Tanzania, first of all to Zanzibar. Now it is recovering, but slowly. Several months ago, a big group of Russian tour operators, representatives and owners of travel agencies, about 40 of them, visited Tanzania, and they were welcomed by Tanzania Tourist Board, and Tanzania Tourist Board organized, I think, a week trip for them around the national parks to Zanzibar, showed them all tourist places, localities, hotels, services. The aim of this trip was to reestablish links that were lost during the lockdown, pandemics, and all these troubles that we had several years ago. and they agreed to work together on packages that will provide the Russian tourists with the opportunities to visit both national parks and beautiful beaches. And I expect that the result of this work will be the increase of the number of Russian tourists that are planning to come to Tanzania. And with that, air companies will have their passengers, because if these are charter flights, the tickets are not sold through agencies or through airlines, but through travel agencies. So a travel agency with their Tanzanian partners, they form a package, they sell it, and then they provide tourists with the whole line of service: air tickets, hotels, and so on and so forth. So that's how airlines get their passengers for their charter flights. If this goes well, I think we can also discuss regular flights that used to be between Moscow and Dar es Salaam, but many years ago. It depends on the number of people coming here. But I don't want only to talk about Russians coming to Tanzania. If more Tanzanians go to Russia, I know you have everything for your vacations just at home. You don't need to travel far to enjoy beaches or safaris or anything. You have the best places. But Russia, of course, has a lot of places of interest for you, absolutely different from what you can find here or in Africa, historical, cultural places that any Tanzanian visiting Russia will admire. But if we speak about moving forward our business relations, also business delegations from Tanzania are very welcome. And we actually invite our Tanzanian partners to many events in Russia, national or international events, all sorts of business fora. Sports and culture. Also, our exchanges mostly go one way. We invite many Russian artists and culture groups to Tanzania, but we are ready to accept Tanzanian culture in Russia. Russians want to see. They don't have enough of African and Tanzanian culture, and they will be happy to be acquainted with the Tanzanian music and dancing and art. And all these exchanges add to it youth exchanges, add to it sports exchanges. We have many national and international sports events that Tanzanian football teams or athletic teams can participate in. Apart from actual value of these exchanges, these are all passengers, and they will help to bring about this flights between, bring back the flights between our two countries. International fora, I mentioned peace and security. Peace and security, the cooperation in the United Nations is a part of this peace and security cooperation. The format of Russia-Africa cooperation is a part of peace of security. Internet security also now is a part of security cooperation. The military students from Tanzania, and I mentioned those naval cadets who are now studying in Russia. All in all, we have about 200 military students currently studying in different Russian military schools and academies. And we are ready to increase their number. We are ready to further promote the cooperation between Russian military and Tanzanian military in equipment, weapons, and everything that Tanzanian military needs to have to support their readiness as a smart army. All areas of cooperation are open to us. There is nothing that we wouldn't be ready to share with our Tanzanian friends. And if you want me to pick one of those issues and name it the most important or priority, I think that should be trade, economy, and investment. This is the most important basis to strengthen national security too. Everything. Independence, security, being a sovereign country, all these needs to be built on an economic basis. We are welcoming and supporting the policy of open economic diplomacy pursued by President Samia Suluhu Hassan, and we are ready to continue cooperating with her government on all these issues. But trade and economy, I think, is the most important thing. We start with this, and then everything will be built on this strong basis. More questions, please.
Yes.
Please.
First of all, it's nice to see you again. I would like to start with a comment. Russian initiation to boost awareness is really doing a great job. In the past 2 years, what Russia has been doing with several activities, whether it's the Russian House, whether it's intergovernmental engagements or trips. I've been to Russia twice, I've been to St. Petersburg, I've been to Fosagro and other places. It has really boosted their awareness, and on a personal level, but also on people who are following us, it has given them a different perspective from understanding Russia. So what Russia is doing is working. Now, you've mentioned a lot of things, from trade to military cooperations to security cooperations. And this is something that I also did ask Primakov when I was in Russia. How do you rate Tanzanian-Russian relationship generally? How do you rate it? And secondly, it's part of the question is, how do you rate Tanzania as a partner? Are they reliable? Are they not reliable? Are they stable as a partner? Okay. And one of the most important things that you mentioned, and this is an Achilles heel for Africa, which is the global financial architecture. And you did mention Russia's push for international financial institutions to restructure in order to reflect the current situation and what's really happening, especially the global south. That's very important, which brings me to Brics. Is Tanzania allowed to join Brics, and what would be the requirement for us to join Brics? And about, you talk about trade. When I was there, it was in the Chamber of Commerce. I met some people and they were talking about coffee, and they're not buying it directly from Tanzania. Actually, from what I understood, they're buying it from another European country. So I did spoke with the lady and told them, we grow one of the best coffees in Tanzania. Why aren't you getting it directly from us? So she told me her challenges, and when I came back, I actually sent her a sample, 2 kilograms of raw coffee to her so she can check and try to establish. But there seems to be, it's not as easy for Russian companies to contact Tanzanian providers, or for Tanzanian providers to contact Russian. And since I spoke about that on my channel, I've been asked, how do I get to sell coffee? So is there any portal which simplifies direct, I'm talking from private entities, either it's buyers or sellers from Russia, or buyers and sellers from Tanzania, where they could contact direct? Is there a portal, or do they have to go through intergovernmental agency? And
okay, let me try to answer those questions. If you have
yes,
more, then we'll come back to them. The general assessment of Russia-Tanzania relations is these relations have been close and friendly since before Tanzania even became a country. You know that my country supported liberation struggle of African nations, including East African nations, and including Tanganyika and Zanzibar, against colonialism. And I know that our Tanzanian friends are grateful for it and still remember it and cherish this memory. So since then, since the first leader of your country, Julius Nyerere, we've been close friends. And personally, Mwalimu Nyerere was a good friend of my country, and we remember that and we appreciate it. Since then, these relations have been very close and friendly. But we already mentioned that these political and friendly ties were not supplemented by equal economic and trade relations. So now we want to balance it, to balance our good feelings, good mutual feelings, with our bilateral trade. That's what we are promoting. We don't need to promote further our friendship. It exists. We need to keep it, to cherish it, and to remember about it when we talk about Russia-Tanzania relations. But trade economy is something that we need to move forward. And it brings me to your second question about Tanzania being a reliable partner for Russia. Yes, it is a reliable partner. Stable, you mentioned stable. Tanzania, being stable and peaceful country, means that it is a reliable partner not only for Russia, but for any other country in the world. And we admire the peace and stability in your country, how you managed to keep it this way, with the country moving, going forward, developing as one. You have different religions here, just like Russia. And I always say that Tanzania and Russia are very similar, because you have here, for example, Christians and Muslims living together for centuries in peace. And Russia, by the way, which is one of the biggest Muslim countries in the world, have Christians and Muslims and other religions living together in peace for many years. This is a blessing for our two countries. We need to preserve it. Tanzania, as a stable, peaceful country, is a reliable partner. But if we speak about particular projects or particular business relations, then it needs to be looked after. And I'm telling all Russian companies that want to start business in Tanzania, please write to me, and call the embassy. We know good, reliable companies in Russia we can recommend. And I always welcome initiatives from Tanzanian companies that write to me and tell me that they want to find partners in Russia for their business. That is how we bring together, not like I want to go and trade with Tanzania. I look at the internet, I see the first name, and then I call him and give him my money, and then he disappears with it. Same happens in Russia. Don't do this, I tell them. We are here for you, and we are here for Tanzanian business. We have this intergovernmental commission, one of the tasks of which is also to promote business contacts. I think your question about coffee, particular question about coffee, is a good example of it. Yes, there is a pothole, as you said. We need to do some promotion. And from your part, some more efforts in advertising. Russia is a huge market, and we have a lot of different products. I know that Tanzanian coffee is good quality. You know, many people know. But further promotion is still needed. And indeed, what we need is direct trade, direct business. When I tell to my Tanzanian friends in Tanzanian Coffee Board, which is in Moshi, that we don't know Tanzanian coffee in Russia. They say, you know, and you always knew, but you just didn't know that it was Tanzanian coffee. Tanzania sells raw coffee, as you rightly said, to European countries. Then, in the European country, it is processed, roasted, packed, and blended with other coffee from Brazil, Vietnam, or whatever, Ethiopia, and then is sold on the Russian market under different brands, under European brand, which even doesn't mention Tanzania. So we drink Tanzanian coffee, but we don't know that it is Tanzanian coffee. Why do we lose our profit to those intermediaries? We need to trade directly, but it is easier said than done. Of course, to trade directly, we need the whole process under our control. Tanzania needs investment for processing, for packaging, for roasting, for blending, for everything. This can only be done through direct business-to-business contacts. Of course, Intergovernmental Commission and government authorities can help, like Tanzania Coffee Board, like Russian Embassy, but in the end, it is business to business. We can help you and your potential Russian partners to find each other, to establish this context, but your further negotiations will be upon you. And I'm sure that when you come to the conclusion, after all these calculations, that some investment will bring more profit to both Tanzanian side and Russian side, then it will happen. Because it is well known that of billions of dollars made on African coffee, some peanuts come back to Africa. It is the same for Tanzania, for West Africa, for any African state. And I must tell you that the West is interested in keeping Africa underdeveloped. because all the money from your product, not only coffee, take anything, oil, rich mineral resources, they buy it cheap and then they sell it expensive. And the margin goes into pockets of those companies in other places than Africa. And here we come to the reform of the international financial institutions. You need investment. You need more investment from international financial institutions. But again, the West that has dominated the world trade and African trade for centuries doesn't want to lose this position and will not easily lose this position. This is what we call the second liberation of Africa. You gained your independence in the beginning of the 60s of the last century. Now it is time to become independent economically, to become developed, really developed. And to be really developed, you need investment and industry and advanced agriculture, not be dependent on foreign aid. Aid and assistance will never make a country a developed one, because aid and assistance is a voluntary thing. One day they give you money, the next day they will stop loving you and say, no more aid. And what? You don't have any other source to feed your people. Economic development. Russia comes here with projects, bilateral, mutually profitable. We don't do aid. Sometimes my colleagues, ambassadors, ask me, what aid projects does Russia have in Tanzania? None, because this is not how we work together. Our aim is mutual profit. You make money, Russian business makes money. It does well to both. And we know that business links, business cooperation is much more reliable because both sides are interested in it. In the international financial institutions, the West still has the final say. They decide who gets investment, who gets money, who doesn't. And the reform must change this. It must be fair and just like the whole United Nations, just like the Security Council, the financial institutions should hear what Africa needs. Not tell Africa what Africa needs, but hear what Africa needs. I think I covered everything. Brics. Yeah, you asked, is Tanzania allowed to join Brics? Well, everyone is allowed to join Brics. Brics is a unique, I'm looking for a word, because it is not an organization. It is more an alliance of like-minded countries. It is not an organization with a secretariat or with a charter or with strict rules of membership. It is a club of like-minded countries. And we don't have strict also rules to become a member. If Tanzania one day decides to join this club, it just officially shows its interest. And then all Brics member countries will discuss it, and I'm sure that their unanimous decision will be favorable, because Tanzania is already a good partner and a country that is doing business and having friendly relations with all of them. And some of them are the biggest trade and economic partners of Tanzania, like China, like India, like United Arab Emirates. So we have African countries in BRICS already, South Africa and Ethiopia. And I think the initiative should come from the Tanzanian side. We don't invite anybody, although we have special format now, BRICS Plus. When BRICS countries at the level of heads of state invite their colleagues from other countries to join them in some meetings to show how BRICS works. And any interest from any country that shares our values, shares our approach to the modern world, shares our multipolar vision of the current world, any country that shows interest will be welcomed with a lot of interest. I think I covered all your questions.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Yes, welcome.
Let me give opportunity. If
Yes, please,
others.
gentlemen. Lady.
If not, I'll ask.
Please.
So, on a personal level, I'm a military enthusiast. I do follow up a lot. And also, while I was in Russia, I met some of the
What is military enthusiast? You go around with the machine gun?
No. So I love military technology, the tactics and everything. So on this, I'm not specifically talking about what's going on the battlefield, but on the technology side. And everybody knows how advanced Russia is when it comes to military technology, their doctrine, their training and everything. And the transformation that they have gone through since the SMO started. They've become way better, well-oiled training and doctrine and everything. So you have mentioned on the security side, there are some over 200 students who are studying military things in Russia. Now, from an enthusiast point of view, do you have, there's something they call boot camps, whereby you're not an official military, but you could go there for training just to enjoy and get an understanding. Does Russia have this kind of, from an individual, if they just want to come
like
and enjoy?
Private armies? No, we don't have this.
It's not private army. Boot camps is where
training, private training.
Yes, private training. Yeah, it's not on the level of.
As far as I know, we don't have this.
Okay.
I don't think it is allowed by the Russian law. No.
Okay.
No, we don't have any private military institutions. No. But you can join Tanzanian army and go and study in Russia in a proper way.
In a proper way.
Yes, you are right. Well, first of all, thank you for appreciating the development of Russia-Tanzanian relations, and you witnessed it, and you visited Russia several times, and saw with your own eyes how beautiful my country is. And military cooperation is an important part of our traditional cooperation. You are absolutely right. The Russian army is the mightiest army in the world now. It has been fighting for several years already during the special military operation. It was not our choice, it was not our free decision. We were made to come to this decision. But during this several years of fighting, you are right, the Russian military and Russian military science has developed greatly. Because we have opportunities to test everything at the battlefield. And we have the most advanced technologies in everything, starting from drones to navy or to any sort of weapons. And despite the special military operations still continuing, we can share all those weapons and military vehicles or whatever is needed by our partners in Africa, including in Tanzania, with them. So I'm sure the Russian authorities will be ready to look at any needs that will be expressed by the Tanzanian side on this military and military technical side. Yes, please.
Yes, in addition, sir, I would like to ask also about this, on which I think I would like to ask something which I have forgotten before.
Yes, please.
Right now, Tanzania it is facing, or it's trying to rebuild itself in the leadership system and political systems, whereby it's willing to enter in the reconciliation period sooner at the beginning of the next year, 2026. This comes after the activities which occurred in October 29th. After those which has happened there, we have seen and realized most of the comment from the international organizations, European countries, and also most of the African countries about their comment on what has happened in Tanzania. What about Russia? As a good partner, as a good friend of Tanzania, what's your comment on this which has happened like a month ago?
I witnessed the general elections that were held here on the 29th of October, and we had Russian observers who were in Tanzania to observe the elections. The observers came to the conclusion that the elections were free and fair, and they were very much impressed by the organization of all the voting process and everything. And the fact that just a couple of days later, President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, sent his special envoy with a personal letter to re-elected President, Her Excellency Samir Suluhu Hassan, shows the support that the Russian government continues to provide to our Tanzanian partners. We want this country to be stable and peaceful like it has always been. And I'm sure that those unfortunate events that followed the elections don't have roots in Tanzanian society. So we have no doubt that Tanzania will continue to be a stable and reliable partner for us.
So talking about security, which is very important. As you mentioned before, Tanzania is a reliable partner to Russia. And not only Tanzania. I do cover geopolitics, and most of Africa right now is in turmoil. You hear there's certain conflicts going on either in Congo, either in Sudan, either in Mali, whether in north or south. It's like all over. I think you just mentioned on the first question, Russia had observers here during the elections, and also Russia did not only congratulate, but the president of Russia, Mr. Putin, sent a personal letter to Tanzania. But there, we cannot ignore that, as you said, Africa is blessed. We have almost everything that we have. There are Western countries who are exploiting and getting it for as cheap as they can get. For example, Niger, the uranium before, with the previous regime, they used to sell it for less than $1, while on the world market, it's almost $200. But now with the new regime and everything, things have changed. So they're not happy with when Africa is trying to get a fair deal. So my question is, there's foreign interference to destabilize some African countries. If approached, is Russia ready to help secure and counter? As I know, I usually cover, I remember 2 years ago, there were massive demonstrations which were meant for regime change in Iran. President Putin sent security specialists and advisors and did help to stabilize. Same thing before, this was almost 3-4 years ago in Venezuela. I remember Putin sent almost 2 military planes for military and security advisors to help stabilize. We know also what happened in Syria from 2015. So Russia has been supporting certain countries preserve their sovereignty. When it comes to Tanzania, because we're in Tanzania and we're talking this, if Russia is approached to help counter any foreign interference which are meant to destabilize Tanzania, is Russia ready to help on that?
Frankly, yes. Yes, please.
You mentioned that let's say trade between Russia and Tanzania is not on our side. And I think part of the reason behind that is existing sanctions. But just that Tanzania is afraid to trade with Russia and hope that it might lose some of the Western business partners. Right? So how will Russia help Tanzania in terms of trade, market, a business is maybe dealing with maybe Switzerland, maybe they're exporting for coal, right? At a certain volume, they don't want to lose the business, right? How will you help that very specific Tanzanian business? Do you get the same level sell the same volume of cocoa to Russia, maybe at a better deal?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I wouldn't speculate about the need of foreign assistance to keep Tanzania secure and peaceful countries. I am absolutely 100% sure that the government of the United Republic of Tanzania is capable of preserving peace and stability in their country. And we're witnessing it now. The country went back to normal life, business as usual, and no need for any foreign assistance in preserving peace and stability in Tanzania. I cannot even imagine such a situation. But speaking about Africa in general, you're absolutely right. No peace and stability in many parts of the continent. It is again something that Africa inherited from colonial powers. Their aim was to live without living. That's what they did, marking artificial borders, leaving poverty and illiteracy behind. That's how they do in the whole world. In other parts of the world that became independent, they see how officially live, but to keep their influence behind. Africa inherited it from colonial times. And when it is needed and Russia is approached, as in several Central African states, Russia can help with their security. That's what we are doing. But first of all, it is for the African countries themselves. They need to come together, and we support the approach that is pursued by the African Union, African solution to African problems. That's the way to go forward. We can help in some specific circumstances, but general, Africans must approach it from a continental joint position. Speaking about sanctions and bilateral relations, yes, of course, these are not helping. First of all these sanctions and restrictions are illegal. No country, including Tanzania, is obliged to follow them. None of those sanctions, not a single one, are adopted by the Security Council of the United Nations, which is the only body in the world that is allowed to put sanctions on a country. None of all these restrictions, and there are thousands of them now, by European countries, United States, other countries against Russia, none of them are legal. So no one has to follow them. Of course, some countries are afraid to be punished. Or we have some problems in doing transactions because of these sanctions do not allow Russian banks to cooperate and interact with the international banks, or they put those illegal sanctions on our ships. Or we propose trading in national currencies. We avoid third country currencies that can be influenced by their will. Trade between Russia and China, which is almost 200 billion if we count in dollars, is being done completely in national currencies. We don't, although we still count in dollars because it is simpler and easier to understand, but we trade in rubles and yuans. With India, Russia trades mostly in rupees and rubles. And we offer Tanzania the same solution. Let's avoid using other countries' currencies. Let's trade in shillings and rubles. And actually now, Russian companies, they have solutions for all these problems. So Tanzanian business, Tanzanian companies shouldn't be afraid of doing business with their Russian counterparts because there are solutions for everything. The more sanctions and illegal restrictions are put on us, the more creative and inventive we become. We're smarter than them. We'll find a way.
You've mentioned using third party, and we know the reserve currency is dollar. So whenever someone is using SWIFT, they'll automatically be very easily blocked. I did an article about Brics and how Russia has done a masterclass on redundancy against sanction. It's the most sanctioned country in the world with over 21,000 sanctions. I don't know if there's any country in the history of the world who's been hit with more.
We stopped counting it, frankly. At one moment, we stopped caring about it because we see now that it cannot done any serious harm to us. So you rightly said. Yes. Sorry.
So Russia did develop its own SWIFT alternative, which is FPFS.
Yes.
And I also understand China has also its other
Yes.
SWIFT. Is Russia open to integrating this SWIFT alternative with other countries, let's say like Tanzania and any willing country, so that the bilateral trade can become as easy as...
This is our purpose. It is not a question, is Russia open to it? Because we invented it just for this purpose. And we not only open, but we are inviting all our trade partners to use it. It doesn't mean that you have to stop using SWIFT or any other arrangement with other countries. Go on, continue trading with Europe, America, China, whoever. With Russia, there is an arrangement that we offer. Also, we suggest that Russian bank cards be accepted in Tanzania. It will be a huge step to promote Russian tourism in Tanzania. Because of all these sanctions, we cannot use international banking cards. But we have a stable banking system in Russia, and all these banks and Russian citizens keep their money in Russian banks now. And if they can come here with and pay with the banking cards from Russian banks, it will be, I think, equally important step as to resume direct flights. Because sometimes now Russian citizens have problems in paying for their stay, in buying things. And you know, Russian tourists are those who buy a lot of souvenirs and things to bring back home. And it will be a good income for tourist industry in services in Tanzania. So this will be using Russian payment systems and using Russian banks' cards here will help a lot. In many countries, it is now a normal thing. And we offer it to Tanzania too. Sanctions work when you don't have any other options.
Yes.
But it was so comfortable to have dollar everywhere. Easy. But one day, it became obvious that this good thing in one day can become a big problem. So we started looking for other options. And it appears that if you look for it, you find it. That's what we offer.
So, again, I'm thinking also in terms of insurance, shipping, and also all the
Yes.
value chain.
Yes.
Somebody has got the cost of
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you can look at, or something that you've already looked at in terms of protecting an export of cargo here from Tanzania all the way to Russia? Is that something that
Well, your coffee is not sanctioned. You can export it easily and freely. And when we speak about, yes, insurance is one of the problems because the insurance rate for Russian ships is very high now. But also there are other insurance companies. Also there are other ships. You give me good product, I'll give you the way how to bring it to Russia.
It's not a question, but it's after what we've spoke about, I've realized that most of the concerns and most of the issues already have a solution. Let's say like banking, as you said. When I came to Russia, I posted I visited the tractor factory, and people are really inquiring about the tractors and how they could get there. But also for Sagro, the fertilizers that you have is amazing. So one of the challenges was it's not easy to ship from Russia here or back. Also, transactions. But it seems from what you've just explained that the solutions are there. The only thing that needs is more awareness. I think that's what.
Yes, you actually mentioned it before, and probably I forgot to touch upon this issue. More people-to-people context, business-to-business context is a solution. That is why we regularly invite Tanzanian business delegations to participate in, for example, St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, the biggest, or other regional and national economic events. And we will be happy to facilitate your bilateral visit if you have a partner in a business partner in Russia. So awareness is absolutely the answer. The more we know about each other, the easier to work together. You mentioned fertilizers.
Yes.
Speaking about fertilizers, there is a simple solution of all these problems. Start producing fertilizers in Tanzania. That's what I'm trying to persuade our big fertilizer companies. Starting producing fertilizer here will allow them to export it from here to many countries in the region, which are also big buyers of Russian fertilizers. It will save a lot of money on shipping and all things that are related to it. Some investment here and starting producing fertilizers will be the solution. But one important thing, to start producing fertilizer, one needs cheap gas. Cheap gas is the precondition for any profitable fertilizer industry. We know that natural gas is there on the shelf in the Indian Ocean, and Tanzanian government is going to start selling these batches. Russian energy companies are interested in it.
Okay.
And with the increase of gas production in Tanzania, it will become cheaper, and the local production of fertilizers will become profitable.
And it's not just about cheap fertilizer, because when I was there, they did educate us. We are currently getting fertilizers from other countries, which are actually poisonous. They are damaging the soil.
Yes.
So after 1, 2, 3 years, then it's well known that Africa has the largest arid land where you could farm whatever you want to farm. And it's done purposefully so that Africa not be self-sufficient in food by killing the soil with this kind of fertilizers. But with for Sagro, they have natural and safe fertilizers. So it's not simply about the fertilizer, but it's also about the food security. And that's one of the trips that I went to Russia. It was about food security. And so they taught us everything. And I remember Primakov told me that next year it's not food security, it's food sovereignty, which will be held, I think, around next year in Ethiopia. So there's also that side that...
We had this conference, I think, a couple of weeks ago already in Addis Ababa.
It's already happened, eh?
Yes, it happened,
okay.
yeah. And you're absolutely right, yes. These are a good quality thing. Localization of production is not the only option. In fact, we can increase export of Russian fertilizers to Tanzania. No problem with that. We'll find ways. We have the amount of our production is enough for Russia or to sell it to anybody. More than that, if in case of emergency, we give for free a lot of fertilizers. But I'll tell you one example. It's 2 years or 3 years ago now that Russian companies, including, I think, Fosagro, they decided to give for free fertilizers to several African countries that were in distress, Malawi included, and several others. These fertilizers were, at that time, it was after the beginning of the special military operation, they were stocked in some European ports. And those European countries, they just didn't allow these fertilizers to go out their ports.
I remember that.
Like in the framework of these illegal sanctions. We were trying to explain, we're not making money on it. We're giving it for free for African countries. And some amount we managed to get out of those ports, and some was still there. I don't know if it is still or expired long ago, because they have some term of some time for expiring. And we can increase. If Tanzania needs more, I know that Tanzanian agriculture is not yet very technologically advanced, and it needs a lot of fertilizer. Not only fertilizer we can provide, but also modern technologies. We're not hiding it. We are giving it for all those who want to have it. Tractors, please. We have possibilities. Our closest friends and allies, Belarus, they have best tractors. Together we can provide all farmers with tractors they need, no problem. Again, despite all sanctions, don't be afraid, don't worry. What you want to get us, we can provide. No other questions? Thank you very much for celebrating with me the end of the year, giving me the opportunity to share with you something that we achieved and something that we haven't but planning to achieve in the nearest future. And let me wish you a Merry Christmas and a good and prosperous, peaceful New Year of 2026. No need to wait another year. If you have questions on current events in Russia, Tanzania, Russia, Africa, or any other issue, I will always be happy to talk to you. Barbara here is always in your service. And thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much for your time. We really...
And thank you for the paper.
If I may add, we have some souvenirs under our Christmas tree, so you can come and get your little early New Year's presents.
And also some documents. Okay, good. The Russia-Africa ministerial meeting in Cairo had a very detailed final document, but it is thick, like 26 pages. It can be easily found on the Russian embassy webpage or Russian Foreign Ministry webpage. Yeah. Okay.
Kama umependa unachokisikia, unaweza ukashare na mwenzio na yeye azidi kufaidika. Lakini kama ndo mara ya kwanza unamfollow DJ Smart 255, bonyeza subscribe hapo, alafu jiunge kwenye WhatsApp channel ili wewe unapata taarifa zote za link zote za makala ya DJ Smart yanapokuwa yanatoka. Ila vile vile show your love, show your support. ili Fuse izidi kufanya makala mengine, tuzidi kuelimishana. Gharama ni nyingi, tuzidi kuboresha Fuse. Nachoweza kusema is one love. Namba hii hapo. Mwana Fuse, kuwa wa mwanzo kupata makala zote za DJ Sma zinapotoka. Ni rahisi, link zote za makala hutumwa kwenye WhatsApp channel ya DJ Sma 255. Subscribe upate makala yote yanapotoka. Njia ya kwanza ni kuscan hii QR code. Tumia kamera yako kuscan hii QR code. Itakupeleka kwenye WhatsApp channel, alafu bonyeza subscribe. Au tuma ujumbe wa WhatsApp kwenda kwenye hii namba. Andika message niunge kwenye channel, utapokea ujumbe wenye link. Bonyeza hiyo linki, itakupeleka kwenye channel, bonyeza subscribe. Utakuwa unapata makala yote ya DJ Sma za zamani na mpya kila zinapotoka. Vile vile DJ Sma nipo TikTok, nipo Twitter au X, Threads, kote natumia DJ Sma 255. Fuse by DJ Sma inawezeshwa na wewe mwana Fuse. Sapoti yako inasaidia gharama za kiuendeshaji. Tuma mchango wako kwa namba +255 0764124124. Inapokea miamala yote ya ndani na nje ya Tanzania. DJ Sma, one love.
DJ Sma.
Ila kuna kitu ambacho ningependa tufahamu. Video hii imelenga kwa madhumuni ya kielimu na kuhamasisha fikra za kina. Tunakuza majadiliano ya wazi, lakini wafuatiliaji wote ninatarajia kushiriki kwa heshima. Tafadhali epuka maneno ya chuki, ubaguzi, mashambulizi binafsi au aina yoyote ya vurugu. Tuchangie katika kuunda mazingira salama ya kujifunza na majadiliano yenye tija. Disclaimer. This video is intended for educational purpose and to encourage critical thinking. We promote open discussions, but all viewers are expected to engage respectfully. Please avoid hate speech, discrimination, personal attacks, or any form of violence. Let's create a safe space for learning and constructive dialogue.